What's up, guys? Back for another game. Alright, when I last left off, I was introducing the mighty Golos Tireless Pilgrim deck, which I reluctantly built after facing it for a long time, and at Nate's behest, decided to give it a shot. We tinkered around with a list and got it into what felt like a pretty decent place. The deck was certainly performing well, but it had a lot of games that kind of just felt fair. And I know that you might scoff at the notion of a game that sounds fair, but really, the tough matches come when your opponent does unfair things to you, generally in the form of fast mana, and they can do a lot of other things. Fast mana tends to lead to planeswalkers, and planeswalkers are one of the most problematic, ubiquitous, and fundamental threats in Commander format, particularly in 1v1, because most of the decks that I play, at least, tend to be control-y, and they don't tend to run a lot of creatures. In fact, most of them tend to run, I don't know, anywhere from 3 to 5 creatures total, and they're all utility creatures. So planeswalkers are really hard to interact with, and Golos is not very good at dealing with planeswalkers. He's just a 3/5. He costs 5 mana. Obviously, getting land is great, but if your opponent's already running away with the game with a planeswalker, often Golos just does nothing, and it gets outclassed by a lot of creatures on the ground as well. And so I haven't been losing a lot with the deck. In fact, I'll touch on my record in another game here, but it was definitely just feeling too fair for my taste. You can see that I've got Transmute Artifact in here, which is a bit of an innovation that I touched on because we were just dominating games with the Chromatic Orrery. Super, super insane in the Golos deck, actually. It's probably the deck that, of all the decks in the format, it's probably the deck that's best suited to run that card, mainly because Golos fetches the Mishra's Workshop consistently. And if you have Workshop out, then the Orrery only effectively costs 5, and 5 mana for an artifact that makes 5 mana of any color, or any combination of colors, is really, really nuts. So that factor alone certainly elevated Golos as a commander, the fact that you can transmute into Orrery so trivially. But this game is a really good demonstration of sort of the fundamental problems with Golos, although some other cards show up in this match that I thought were very interesting, some stuff I've never faced before. And I'm up against Torbran, Thane of Red Fell, played by Dr. Punanza. I'm sorry, I can't read. It's 3 in the morning. Punana Z4114, or 144. Okay, anyway. Torbran, Thane of Red Fell, one of the best aggro commanders. This thing, I've played it against a number of times, and it just piles up damage on you. And we do have a bit of a reprieve in that the 1v1 games are 40 life again for some reason. That was reverted a couple months ago with no apparent explanation that I know of. But anyway, even with 40 life, this guy can kill you damn fast. And he's going first. And I have a good hand. I mean, I've got Mana Leak to stop his Torbran the first time he plays it. I've got the 3 mana Teferi. Transmute Artifact, if I can get Golos online. Definitely a keeper. Not great, though. I'm definitely not feeling particularly comfortable until I draw a few more lands. So we'll see how it goes. It does not have a turn 1 play, which is very nice. Copy Artifact. All right. The times when you wish your opponent played a Soul Ring. Ruby Medallion. Well, it's a mana-producing artifact that I do not want to copy. It does basically nothing in my deck, which is quite unfortunate, but at least I've got defense against the early play. Fabricate. All right, I just need to draw one more land, and this hand is golden. So we'll see what happens here. I'm really hoping he just runs his Torbran out against the Mana Leak. So I'm just going to stop that, obviously. And that blunts a lot of his pressure and should buy me time to draw into more mana. He tosses his Torbran into the command zone. But it's going to be online again in a couple turns. I really need to hit a land here. Okay, well, it's not a land, but it is a talisman that gets me to 3 mana. So not too bad. All right. So he's 1 mana away from me. He plays Harsh Mentor. Pretty evil against my deck, particularly against Pain lands. And obviously this card's totally insane. If he's got his commander online, you take 4 damage for sacking a fetch land. Really grotesque. Treasure Nabber. Well, looky here. I have never ever seen this creature before. Whenever an opponent taps an artifact for mana, gain control of that artifact until the end of your next turn. Good lord, that is so evil against this draw. With Gilded Lotus, Fabricate, Copy Artifact. Just kind of a nightmare. And yeah, I gotta get Golos out of my deck. My deck draws Soul Ring. My god. All right, so I've kind of reached a crossroads in this game. This was a really, really long turn. And the thing is that he can't cast his commander yet. I got to assume he doesn't have another land in play, 5 mountains to go with it, which means I need to really consider whether or not I want to hand mana to my opponent. The problem is that all of my development is artifact mana. So I really can't give him a ton of mana. I have no idea what he's going to do with that. And if he's got a Wheel of Fortune or something and I just hand him 3 artifacts, it could just be absolutely ruinous. So I don't know. I mean, I think maybe in retrospect, the correct play may have been to just give him all of my artifacts for a turn and just hope that he couldn't do anything with them. So maybe here I would like copy the Soul Ring and then fabricate for something else and then cast a Teferi or something. Do I have enough mana to do that if I get a Mox Opal? So you copy the Soul Ring. I have 1 floating. No, I guess not. No, I'm a little bit short on being able to do that. But basically, I kind of needed to go all in here just to cause something to happen here. I was so scared of this creature, though, and the potential of his hand. I've never played against Treasure Nabby before, and this is just the hand that gets completely destroyed. But once I'm handing him Soul Ring, I should have just gone all in on the artifact plan. So I make another Soul Ring. Yeah, I could fabricate here and go get something like a Mox Opal. But instead, I just decide to chill, because I don't want to hand him 2 more artifacts and give him like 10 mana on his next turn. Either way, it's just really sticky. Let's see what happens. Oh, lots of mana being tapped. He casts... Why does this cast this guy? I mean, it's still a boatload of damage. Still 9. Alright. Alright. Well, I can cast Gilded Lotus while handing my opponent 2 Soul Rings again. And maybe in retrospect that would have been the play to make. But I think about this for a while. And I cast this Teferi. This is just a tempo play. I'm just trying to get another land, just get something else going on. If I hit a land here, I've got 1 floating. I can play Golos at the cost of handing in my artifacts and get the Workshop. So I figure I got to try that. I draw Expedition Map, which I can sack and take 4 damage from. Just totally nightmarish. But at least I can tap my artifacts for a turn. Alright. I'm just going to go get Mana Crypt. Might as well just pile up the stuff. Since this is the 1 turn where I've got a little small reprieve, I do take 4 from that. It's just totally brutal. And this allows me to go get Workshop. And play the Workshop, which at least gives me a way to play Golos without handing my opponent 18 artifacts a turn. And I'm thinking right now, maybe if I can get Golos online, I can get the Orrery. But unfortunately, due to that stupid Nabber, my opponent can just steal the Orrery as well. Treasure Nabber comes out. Good lord. And now he's got Nykthos as well. Electra Dominance for 4, leaving 3 mana untapped. This deals 6 damage to me, and he can play a converted 3 or 4 or less and put it directly into play. There doesn't have anything. I don't understand why he doesn't tap more lands. It just deals 7. Or I guess to deal 6 plus 3 is 9. So he could have dealt 9 plus the hit from his guys. You can just see how fast the damage is piling up. I'm already down to 12. I would literally be dead next turn by activating anything with the Harsh Mentor in play if I was at 30 life before. And he's tapping some more mana. And after a little while, he thinks better of it and just passes. Which is odd. So I'm not sure what he was considering there. When I see this and the fact that he didn't play a spell off Electro Dominance, I'm thinking X spell. And I'm thinking about what it could be. I don't know, maybe by force or something. Anyway, I lose the flip on Mana Crypt just, to add insult to injury. And it's crazy to have a hand like this where I just had so many powerful things to do and completely obliterated by this Treasure Nabber, which again may have just been a testament to the fact that I should have just treated it like it didn't exist and just let him have all my artifacts and just played my game plan. As it is, I hand him a Mana Crypt so he can maybe take some damage off of it. I'll play Golos. Yep, that's fine. Just take some more damage here. I'm going to play Teferi and pop the Treasure Nabber back on top of his library, or down a little deeper in his deck. Yeah, I mean, bouncing this thing would do nothing. He'd just replay it again for 7, and he's got 1 million mana, so it would not stop anything. At least this way, he can't really attack me with anything, and I can live for a turn. But he just plays another mountain, tapping my artifacts, and sure enough, there's the Bifrost that just blows me out again. 3 artifacts destroyed, or 4, including the Golos. And he casts Reforge the Soul. Wheel my hand away. He's got 7 cards in hand. I have to deal with the Treasure Nabber again. Instantly, he casts Firebrand Archer. And yeah, this thing is... That's GG right there. Lightning Greaves just deals 3 to me. Just, God, it's insane. The damage piling up from this red deck is just out of control. And, I mean, I understand that Treasure Nabber kind of blew me out, but I really felt like even without this creature in the game, I don't really feel like I had much of a chance regardless, just due to the artifact kill that he had and the Harsh Mentor and just the quick damage. It's very demonstrative of a kind of fundamental problem with the Golos deck, that the commander just doesn't do enough. Just getting lands, while that furthers a game plan against control decks, is really ineffective against an aggressive aggro deck. And Nate was telling me with the Golos deck that he was really struggling against combo as well, due to having a lack of interactivity and against things like Jace Vryn's Prodigy and so on. And I think it was either this game or the game I played afterward, which was also a squeaker, that I did manage to win, but I felt like maybe the Golos deck is better suited to multiplayer and just is not quite good enough in 1v1. It's kind of the reason why, that was kind of the impression that I had when I played lots of games against it on the way to building my own version with Nate, that the card just seems unimpressive until it's impressive, and that's kind of a problem. I kind of prefer the commanders that have an immediate impact on the game, or are so cheap that you can repeatedly cast them if they're dealt with. And Golos doesn't really fall into either of those categories unless you happen to draw a relatively small range of cards. So, alas, I think I will be scrapping the Golos deck, or at least not playing it for a while. I've got it built in paper, and I think I'm going to be going back to the Brad deck, which I will be revisiting soon in some subsequent videos. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. And my commentary on Golos, obviously other people have strong opinions about this commander. I see it all the time. And I know that it has run roughshod over multiplayer, so perhaps that's really just where it shines. And it's a bit outclassed by the sleeker, leaner commanders in 1v1. Would love to hear your thoughts about that, though. And may revisit it down the road if I do change my opinion, or someone changes my opinion for me. See you guys soon. Take care.